Good morning, students. Welcome again. Today we will be reading the third poem of your syllabus named as Let Me Not to the Marriage of Two Minds, and it is written by William Shakespeare. He is William Shakespeare, and let us read about William Shakespeare, and everyone is quite familiar about him. Let us read about his birth. He was born in Stratford upon Avon, England. He was the son of prominent town official and third child of 8 children. Means William Shakespeare, along with his brothers and sister, he was third one and they were 8. Received excellent education with heavy focus on grammar and literature. So students, you might have read many of his famous dramas, like earlier there was a drama in class 10th also, Julius Caesar, Othello, Romeo Juliet and all. Let us read about his marriage and family. He got married at the age of 18 to Anne Hathaway, and she was 26-year-old at that time, at the time of her marriage. So she was 8 years older than Shakespeare. Their first child was a daughter named Susanna, who was born in 1583. Then they had twins named Hamnet and Judith, born in as twins in 1885. Hamnet dies at the age of 11. So students, that was a great loss for them, as they had lost their one child at the age of 11, named as Hamnet. So let us read about his lost years when he hadn't written anything. The period between 1585 to 1592 is known as the lost years because there were no documentary records of Shakespeare's activity. Means during this time we are failed to find any of the work of Shakespeare. Let us know more about him, that how many are his writings. He wrote 154 sonnets 1593 to 1598. He wrote 37 plays and 2 narrative poems. So these are his work, which are major works of him. So these all are about his writings, his life and marriage. Let us read about the poem. This poem is a sonnet which consists of 14 lines. It is addressed to a young man Shakespeare loved a lot. In this poem, the poet describes true love and glorifies it. In this way, he inspires the young man to marry the girl he loved and have beautiful children. It has a universal appeal and has been written in typical Shakespearean style, using phrases with a great skill to convey the poet's opinion. So, in this poem, poet has described about the power of true love. So this was all about the poem. Let us see the theme of the poem. Shakespeare here throws light on the nature of true love. True love is the union or fusion of two minds. The poet says that no obstacle is possible in the meeting of two hearts. The poet thinks that true love is permanent and changeless. So here in the theme we have come to know that according to the poet Shakespeare, no obstacle can stop the meeting of two hearts and love is permanent and changeless. Let us look at the whole poem stanza wise and its complete explanation. The first stanza is, let me not to the marriage of two minds admit impediments. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. So this was the first stanza of the poem, let me not to the marriage of true minds. Let us see the explanation of this paragraph. In these lines, the poet expresses love as a relationship of two true hearts. He says that those people who love each other, they don't see marriage as an obstacle. According to him, love is constant and it cannot be altered because in true love, there cannot be duality. So, this is the explanation of stanza 1. Let us see the stanza 2. Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark that looks and tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark, whose words unknown, although his height be taken. This is the second paragraph of the poem. Let us see its explanation. Here also true love is expressed according to the poet. Love is ever fixed. It is fixed or unchangeable like pole star. It always remains at the same place. It never shakes from its place. Means the age, the distance, the passage of time never affects the true love. Love is ever fixed. Just like a pole star shows direction to the boat or ship in the tempest, in the same manner, love also shows path to the souls which roam around. As we can see, we can guess the distance of the pole star, but we cannot measure the importance of it. In the same manner, we cannot say that half valuable love is for us. Let us see the third paragraph. Love's not time's fool. Though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass came, love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. Means love remains forever even till the end of the world. Let us see the explanation. According to the poet, love is above the time limits and earth. There is no control of time, just like a sickle that cuts the crops when it comes in contact to it. Beauty of human beings, his lips, pink lips and cheeks get faded, but love remains unaffected. It is everlasting. Years and ages passed away, but love remains unchangeable and it remains in its existence till the doomsday. Means till the end of everything, love remains as it is. Means importance of love never gets faded, as we all know the importance of it. Let us see the fourth stanza of the poem. If this be error and upon me proved, I never read nor no man ever loved. So here poet claims something. Let us see the explanation of that claim, that if anybody proves it wrong, that the power of love, then poet will never write a poem. Let us see the explanation. The poet says that whatever he has written about love is true. He is ready to be bet of anyone can prove it wrong, and if anyone will show the same, then he will understand that he had never written a word and no one will claim for love. Means poet wants to say that if whatever he has written regarding love, regarding the power of love, if anybody can prove that wrong, then he will never write any poem in the praise of love, in the power of love, and he will understand that he had never written about it. Let us see the summary of it. This sonnet attempts to define love by telling both what it is and is not. In the first quatrain, the speaker says that love, the marriage of minds, is perfect and unchanging. It does not admit impediments and it does not change when it finds changes in the loved one. Means whenever the chances are there to change, if with the chances any love changes, that is not the true love according to the poet. So in the second quatrain, the speaker tells that what love is through a metaphor, a guiding star to lost ships, that is not susceptible to storms. Means here Shakespeare has defined the power of love, means it shows the direction to the diverted people also, if it is the true love. Okay. So to define the power of love, poet has used the poetic device metaphor. In the third quatrain, the speaker again describes what love is not. It is not susceptible to time. Though beauty fades in time as rosy lips and cheeks come within his bending sickle compass, love does not change with hours and weeks. Instead, it bears it out even to the edge of doom. Means even till the end of everything, the love remains as it is. Okay, so this is the power of love. In the couplet, the speaker attests to its certainty that love is as he says. If his statements can be proved to be error, he declares as he must never have written a word, and no man can ever have been in love. Means this is the claim of Shakespeare, that no one can prove it wrong. Or if anybody can prove him wrong, then he will never write, or he will understand that he had never written anything of worth. So I hope you all have understood the poem. Thank you and have a nice day.